Hey friends, welcome to the Sunday Knitting Society podcast. My name is Chelsea and I am a knitter in Oklahoma City. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Today's going to be a different episode than my normal podcast because today I'm going to talk about my knitting plans. So I have resisted making these videos in the past just because I don't like making plans for knitting. So I am a very emotional knitter, I think. And so I knit what I want to knit at the time, like what feels right. There have been a lot of times that I've been like ready to go on a sweater and just, I lose steam and I don't feel like it anymore. And so I end up picking something else. But I also am somebody that like when I finish a project that I'm really excited about, afterward, it's almost like when you read a really good book and you kind of have like book hangover where all you want is that book again, and so you don't really know what to do with your life. So I get that with knitting, where if I finish a really good project, I'm like, now what? So my thought was if I could plan a little bit into the future for knitting, then I would have some ideas at least of what I could do when I get done with the project, so that I have something new that I've already swatched for, I already have yarn for, I already have plans, and I can like have options, but less than all of the options on Ravelry. So my thinking was to like plan monthly, or not monthly, like seasonally. So I am not going to try to predict right now what I'm going to want to knit in July, because things change, styles change, new patterns come out all the time. And even though I may have purchased yarn for a very specific pattern, something new may come out that I like better, that still suits that yarn. So I think for me, it works better to say, okay, over the next 3 months, what do I want to try to accomplish? Now, I've been a little ambitious, so I tried to think, okay, per month, think of like one sweater, one accessory. I think that for me is doable. And instead I came up with 5 sweaters and really 1 accessory. That's all I've thought of. So, the other thing I really wanted to do is to try to knit through my stash. So obviously I have a big stash. I like having a big stash. I think there's that quote going around that buying yarn and knitting are 2 separate hobbies. So I like both hobbies. I enjoy buying yarn. But when was it? Last year I added this 3rd shelf down here and it's already full. And that slightly stresses me out. Because before I had these shelves, my yarn was strewn all over my house. And so it was hard to know how much I had. And when I actually brought it all together, it was like, holy crap, that's a lot of yarn. And I don't want that to happen again. I want to keep it all in one central place. I also I'm really excited about some of the yarn I have. Like, I bought it because I liked it and I still like it. And so I want to actually make things with it. So what I did was I went through, and I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to make. I've been keeping them on my phone, just a list in my notes app of, or I think not the reminders app actually. I have a want to knit and a knit list. So the knit list are things I've already cast on, and the want to knit list is things that I want to make in the future. And I kind of went through my want to knit list and tried to, like, some of the things I had on that list, I bought yarn specifically for that project. And then other things I had put on that list because of yarn I had. That like I had purchased the yarn just because I liked it and then decided what I wanted to make with it. So I have a list because all of my notes are on my phone and I use my phone to record. And so, yeah, sorry, brain just turned off. Does that happen to anybody else? Happens to me. So I have 2 whips that I'm going to talk about because they were on this list, and then 4 sweater plans, 5 sweater plans. I had 6, dang it. Okay, well, so So the first one, I'm going to show you the swatch. So I've swatched for almost all of these except for one, and there's a reason why I haven't swatched. This swatch I made when I was swatching for my Staffen test, which is a pattern that's now out. It's by Rebecca Clow, or the Crayabea. And it was an Aran weight gauge. At the time, I didn't own any Aran weight yarn because it's not my favorite weight to knit with. I do like it, but it wasn't what I'm more of a DK person. But I was trying to put yarns together to see if I could get an Aran weight gauge that I liked. And one of the things that resulted was this top section, this marl. And it was an odd pairing. It was something I normally wouldn't put together, but I loved it. So the two yarns that I'm using for that are Biches the lambswool, and I think this is the medium peach, and then PurlSoho's linen quill in the raw sienna. So they're kind of in the same color family. This is definitely more pink. This is more like yellow orange. But together, this just kept sticking in my brain. Like, I really liked it. And I didn't think it was right for the Staffen sweater because it's a very textured sweater. And I was afraid that this marl would hide that texture. So I didn't end up doing it for that sweater. But I knew I wanted this. And so I knew what yarn or what needle size I'd used for this swatch. And so I went back in and measured it, and it works for a Lento. I think it's like half a stitch off or something for the Lento. So, because that one has been on the back of in my brain for so long, I went ahead and cast that one on last week. I think last week, yeah. Maybe this week. It has not been long. And I've already split for the sleeves. And I love it. I posted a picture on Instagram. When it's dark in my house, it is like, it perfectly blends in with my couch and my ottoman. So it's a camouflage. Once I get done, I'll have to take finished object pictures sitting on my couch. Be like, can you see me? So what was I gonna say about this? I was gonna say something and it just, again, my brain turned off. Oh, so I've been knitting on this early in the morning before work and later in the evening after work. And so it wasn't actually until today that I got to see it in daylight, which is kind of ridiculous. But I tried it on and I love it. It's fitting perfect. It's doing exactly what I want to do. So super happy about that. And I love this fabric. It's definitely Aran weight. But I sometimes find linen quill a little scratchy, and I don't find this scratchy. I think and to be honest, I sometimes would find the lambswool a little bit. It's just on the touch, or just a hair on the side of itchy, but not scratchy. But yeah, together I really like them. And the other thing I'm trying to do this year is crop my sweaters a little bit more. I don't like cropped sweaters. Sorry, it was really cloudy and I was hoping it would stay cloudy, but I might be fighting the sun. Oh well. Yeah, so I don't like cropped sweaters when I wear them with pants. However, most of the way I wear my sweaters is over dresses. I like to wear dresses. It's my favorite type of clothing to wear. I don't love wearing pants, even though I do wear them. I just don't love it. And so I prefer dresses, and that's what I wear to work all the time. And so in the winter, I will just put a sweater on top of my dress, and it means I get to wear my dresses all year round. But it also means I don't have to wear anything under my sweaters because I'm already wearing a dress underneath them. But when you have a full length sweater that you knit to the length you would want it to be if you were wearing jeans, and then you wear it over a dress that has more of a flowy skirt, every time you sit down, it flips up. And it just looks funny. Like it's like pushing down the ruffles of the skirt. And so it's not the best look. And so since I most of the time wear my sweaters over a dress, I'm trying to crop them. I'm not good at it. I don't like cropping them. And so this one, I think normally once I split for sleeves, or not split for sleeves, split for sleeves. I would like to have my body be at least 13 inches, if not 14. I'm trying to make it 10. 9 would be better, but I'm trying to give myself some grace here. What I'm going to do on this one, so I'm at 3 inches already. I'm going to knit it to 7 and try it on. And I'm going to try it on over a dress and see how I like it. And if I'm good there, I'll go ahead and start the ribbing. If I'm not, I'll add an inch or two and then start the ribbing. So I'm hoping actually to be done with this, at least the body, by this weekend. Maybe the whole probably not the whole thing this weekend, but it's going pretty quick and it's really mindless. It's just stockinette in the round. It's great. It's good for watching Thunder basketball games when they make you really nervous. But this is sweater number 1. Oh, I wasn't gonna show FOs. No, I'm not gonna I'll show it on a regular podcast, but I already finished a project this year. That's the first sweater whip. And then the first accessory whip is a hat. So I am knitting the Beginner's Welcome Hat by, oh no, Lily from Curatorial Knits. It's like blanked on her name and I was like, no, I can see her face. So this is a very basic 1x1 rib hat for beginners. I'm using a cute little heart stitch marker for my beginning of round. I'm using some deep stash. This has been wound up for over a year, maybe 2, and it's been in my stash for longer than that. This is Sweet Fiber Yarns Cashmere Aran, I think. Yeah, so it's one that I don't know if they still do this yarn or if not. I think this is Shipwrecked. I went through a real strong sweet fiber phase. I think now they have yarn available all the time, but in the past they had it only like when they would release it and then it was gone after that. And I love her yarn, and so, or their yarn. But yeah, this is really, I have 2 skeins of these. These are 50-gram skeins, I think. And it was always intended to be a hat, but it was intended to be a cabled hat. And I kind of want to do cables, but I also hate cables. I like wearing them. I think they're pretty, but the process of knitting them isn't my favorite. But I also really kind of want to do some. I don't know, but I decided this would be a good yarn for this, because I think it does use a bulkier yarn. And I'm knitting mine on US 8s, I think. 7s, US 7s. So that's my accessory whip for January. Okay, so I have 4 swatches and 1 unswatched. So the first one is some new yarn that I just got. This is Till from PurlSoho. This is a bulky weight, 100% Andean wool. Don't have a ball band, but it comes in these little hanks like this. It's really nice. I really like this. It's a good fabric. It's sturdy but not scratchy. This is Berry Pie. I really like this color. This sat in my online basket for like weeks, and then I finally was like, I'm buying it. And what I'm going to make with this one is a Sonia sweater by by PetiteKnit. And this is a oversized, I think it's a drop shoulder, but it might be a raglan. I don't even remember right now. It's got pretty loose sleeves and it just felt really nice and cozy. My gauge is off. So I swatched on a US 8, which is what is used in that pattern. I got 15 stitches per 4 inches. The pattern is 17. So I think I'm still going to do it. I'm just going to go down 1 or 2 sizes. So, and I've done that before on PetiteKnit patterns and it works out okay. So this might be my next one because I think this would be a good one for February. And I think this would go fast because it's on a US 8. So Sonia sweater. I think there's anything else. Yeah, no, that's about it. This might be a shorter one because I'm going through these really quick. Okay, one that's been on my knit list for a long time. I'm trying to think, since it came out really, or actually I think it's been on my want to knit list since she started teasing photos of it. This is also a PetiteKnit, but this is my last PetiteKnit. No, it's not. It's my second to last PetiteKnit. It's the cloud sweater. So I bought some Camarose Snefnug. I don't remember the color, and of course I don't have any ball bands with me today. It's actually, so here's the sad thing, I ran out of room for this bulky of yarn, so it's actually under the shelves in a bag. I don't remember what color this was. It might be like gray natural or something, or light gray natural. But I don't know if this is the yarn she uses in the pattern or it's just very similar. And my goal was when I was in Copenhagen to buy some of this. And then I realized I was buying too much yarn and I was going to run out of luggage space. This is very bulky and I can pretty easily get this back home. So I picked out a color I liked and then I bought it when I got back home. And then it just kind of sat for a minute. Two things. One, I don't know why I'm stressed out about this sweater. It's not a hard sweater, but something about my brain just felt like it would be so difficult. And I've just had to like talk myself out of that. I don't think it is. I think it's a pretty straightforward sweater. The other thing is, I think what I had read was that you use this yarn plus mohair. And so I'd actually purchased mohair from Gepard because it was really soft. Like I felt it when I was in Copenhagen and I loved it. And so I bought yarn, but then it got here and it doesn't, it's a much cooler gray. This is a little bit warmer gray. I did not like them together. And so then I waffled and I waffled. And then I thought, I'm just going to try, like, how much does the mohair really add to this? This is already a fluffy yarn. So I swatched with it and I hit gauge. And I like the fabric. So I think this is a US 7. It's 17 stitches per 4 inch. I'm right on gauge. It's really soft. Now I am worried this is gonna pill. This just looks like a pilly yarn. It also is a lot more thick and thin than I realized, which I kind of like. But this probably will be the one after the Sonia because I just need to like start it. I think it's probably one I would love. I think this yarn is lovely. I think once I get going on it, I'm gonna be like, why was I so worried about this? It's not that hard, but and I hit gauge pretty well. So I just need to do it. I think it looks like such a cozy sweater and I need to finish it before the weather gets warm, which happens unfairly soon in this state. Okay. This next one I really waffled on. I've had this yarn for a year and a half. I don't actually remember how long I've had this yarn. I bought it. So, okay. So it's Big Birdie from Lamb and Kid. I think it's in the forest color. Of course, I have it caked up and I do not, oh, I do have a ball band. Ha! It is Forage. So this is a bulky weight Surrey alpaca from the Lamb and Kid. I love it. I bought it, I bought this with the intention of making the cloud sweater. Or maybe I bought it to make the fancy sweater, which is a pattern by Lamb and Kid. And I think it's a free pattern. But then I looked at the pattern more and decided, that's not really what I want to make. So I was like, I'll make a cloud sweater. But I did not hit gauge. Now, so I knit this on a US 7, which is what this swatch, because it was for the cloud sweater. So it's on the right needle for the cloud sweater, but it's 15 stitches per 4 inches instead of 17. Why I didn't just decide to do it, because I'm doing the same thing with the Sonia sweater, but I think it's because I already have the gray yarn for the cloud sweater. I don't want to necessarily knit two. And then I started looking through Ravelry for different options. So one option would be to knit the Doppio sweater. I forget who designed that. I will have that in the description box. It's very popular. It's usually one that I've seen knit with like triple stranded yarn, which I think is so cool. And I want to do that at some point. But I haven't been able to wrap my mind around like what 3 colors I would use. So that was on the table, but then I thought, do I want a single color Doppio that with no marling in fuzzy yarn? And I didn't think I wanted that. And so I have reverted. Now I'm going to knit the fancy sweater, which was initially what I bought this yarn for. So the fancy sweater is a free pattern from Lamb & Kid. It is a top-down raglan, very basic. I did hit gauge for it, except for, I think they knitted on a US 9 and I hit gauge on a US 7. So I will just go down 2 needle sizes. Some of the sweaters, some of the samples I see have a very wide neck and some have a more close neck. I don't want the wide neck, and I think I could probably solve that by just knitting more rows on the collar. And I don't know if you do the collar first. I'll have to look at the pattern. I don't know if you start with the collar and then you do the body, or if you come back and do the collar later. But I can modify that if I need to cast on fewer stitches at the beginning so I have a closer collar. I can do that. But yeah, this one should go pretty quick, again, because it's a size 7 needle. I think the one I'm knitting right now is on a US 8. No, it's on a US 10. The Lento's on a 10. So this will go slower than that. But I just think this would be a really pretty color. This has been in my stash for a long time. I love Surrey alpaca. I find zero itch with it. So I have another sweater. It's all knit out of Surrey alpaca. I think this is also a Lento. I held it double and I love this sweater. And so I kind of want something else and just fluff. So this might be the next, I might make a fancy in this one. Okay, I have 2 left. So this is the dinkiest swatch I made. Actually, is it? Yeah, it's the dinkiest swatch. So this is some PurlSoho linen quill, and it has the worst name of all the colors. It's pale celery. Like anemic, nasty vegetable. But the color is beautiful. It's this really pretty pale green. Like, if they could have called this pale pistachio, even though I'm allergic to pistachios, I would be happy with that. I hate celery. I hate it so much. But I like this color. So this was a new-ish color last year, and when it came out, I bought it immediately. And the idea was to knit a long sleeve Tulsta tee. However, I did not hit gauge. So I swatched on US 8, which is what you use for a Tulsta tank or Tulsta tee. And I got 18 stitches per 4 inches. I want to say the Tulsta was not that. I don't remember what the Tulsta was. Maybe it was 16. It wasn't 16. I don't remember what the Tulsta was, but it wasn't 18. So I think it was smaller than that. I struggled with this one because I didn't want anything really fancy. I didn't want to mix other colors with it. I thought about doing a cumulus blouse by PetiteKnit, but then I was like, let's try somebody else other than PetiteKnit. I thought about doing a cozy classic raglan from Jessie Made Designs. But what I ended up doing was going into Ravelry and putting in my needle size and my gauge and then just searching. And one of the things that came up was the clay sweater by Ozetta, which I've swatched for with my Manchalope and got way off gauge. Now, I'm not swatching in pattern, I get that, but the pattern is just stripes of knits and pearls. So I don't feel like this would be that off. So I think I'm gonna do the clay sweater. I think that'll be great because it'll be different than everything else I'm doing. It'll have some texture to it, but it'll still show off this really pretty color. And I think I have enough because I've got 5 skeins of this stuff and I'm holding it double. So that's like, they're like almost 400, they're over 400, they're 430 something. Yeah, they're 439 yards per 100 grams. So I should double check that I have enough of that. Oh, I thought I did all my research before this. I could always buy one more skein if I needed to. Since I'm holding a double, I don't think it'll make that big of a deal. But I just think this will be really pretty. All right, we need more cloud cover because I'm having to squint. Let's try out the tea. Oh, that's good. Okay, it's a new tea. I haven't tried that one yet. Okay, the last one that, I mean, we're probably going beyond March at this point, if I'm being honest. But I want to use up my Tinde that I bought in Norway. This is from Hillesvag. I love Hillesvag. I love them. So my Monday sweater by PetiteKnit is knit in the blue gray, blah gras, colorway from Hillesvag and Tinde, and this is probably my most worn sweater. I love this sweater. It is cozy, it is warm. It's something I can't really wear when it's warm at all because it is itchy to me, but it's got this really pretty halo. I hope you can see it. It's just a really lovely color. So I bought enough yarn to make a second one of these, and I can pretty much just follow, since it's the same yarn, look at my notes for the last one and just make the same thing in this really pretty. And I think this one is, well, it got cut off, which is, so it kind of saves me from having to pronounce it, but I think it's burgundy. Burgundy something. Oh gosh, that's so bright. But it's this really pretty dark burgundy. So that needs to happen at some point. As far as accessories, I don't really have any set plans. I do want to knit another weekend hat by PetiteKnit and maybe a thicker yarn. And then, yeah, I want to knit more vests. So the thing I've already finished this year was a vest. I'm trying to find a spot where there's not sunlight streaming into my face. I knit one vest already this year. I really like it. It is a little trickier for me to figure out how to wear it. Just not used to that. A lot of my dresses are sleeveless, or like tank top dresses, and so wearing it over a dress doesn't really work because then my arms are bare. The one I already finished, I wore to work with a skirt and a long sleeve shirt underneath it, and that was fun. But yeah, just kind of playing around with that, seeing how I want to do it. But I do want to make more vests. They're really fun because when you're done with the body, you're almost done. You just have to do the hemming. Should have brought my sunglasses. What else was I gonna say? But yeah, so I think vests are maybe a little bit better for spring, just because they are going to be a little bit more transitional. So I'm willing to not work on those until later. What else was I gonna say? You guys want to see an adorable doggy who's just being very good. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because I don't want to blind myself sitting in the sunlight. I think I might try to do this every season. So like maybe do another one at the end of March and kind of make plans for the summer or spring and summer. We'll see. But I'm also trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to like think through my stash and do that. I'm planning on going to Flock again this year. And so I know I'm going to buy yarn at Flock. I know there's going to be things that come up that I want to buy before Flock, but I am trying to rein in how much I buy other yarn unless it's like for a very specific reason. I'm not good about that. But also just trying to make some space on these shelves for new things. But anyway, so that is my plans for the winter. If you guys have any other suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments. If you have similar plans like this, I'd love to know what you're working on. Thank you guys so much for your support of me and this channel. Thank you for all your comments. I really like getting to read all those and respond to those. You guys are the best. I will see you guys probably back in a week for a regular podcast. Yeah, so you guys take care. Bye.